Hello, thank you for clicking the link. Today I'm going to show you how to make these cobblestones for your dioramas or your wargame terrain out of a pencil and some XPS foam. After gathering your supplies, the first thing we're going to need to do is to make the tool that is going to make the shape of the cobblestones. So Crafty Goblin discovered that if you take the eraser out of the pencil and shape this into the cobblestone, a rectangle, it makes a great, okay, so there we go, pop that out, and then I take my needle nose pliers and I trying to get this so you guys can see it, and then I gently squeeze it this way, and then I gently squeeze it this way to kind of get that rectangle shape. See how it's got this little shape here that I don't want? You can just push that down. Well, actually, I'm mistaken. These aren't, oh, they are needle nose. I wasn't sure if these were my jewelry. These might be jewelry making tools. So let's see, take that over there. And then, as you can see, I'm taking the tool and shaping into a rectangle shape, okay? Can you see that there? Okay. Just go real slow. This is a really pliable metal. It can break off pretty easy too, and if it does, don't worry about it. These will get beat up during the process of making the cobblestones, and it all depends on how big your cobblestone surface area is. I did two really large areas, and this is the tool I used, and I just had the one. I barely made the project on this one, but there you go. So this one could probably use a little reshaping. See these little squiggly, it's kind of hard to show this, but there's little squiggly grooves right there. You kind of want to flatten those out and get those together. Okay, ta-da! So that's the first step. I hope you can see, you guys can see that. Is that better? See the shape I chose? Okay, got it? So I thought, why not make another one just to show you how it's done. We may have a cat coming up here to investigate. I think we have a manager. Oh, did that come out? Okay, it came out. Sometimes these will break off, like on this one, it broke off. I wasn't using my finger though, but so there we go. We have the nice edge. Trying to find the range of focus. There we go. So we have the edge there, and then take your tool and squeeze one side, and then turn and squeeze another. Basically, I just keep turning the pencil until I get the shape that I want for the brick. Uh-oh, hello, Dr. Dunbar. We have a manager. Hello, Preston. He likes to chase hose water. He's a special boy. Hello, look. What's that? Okay, so back to, sorry about the cat. Hope no one's allergic. Anyway, back to making the little, I don't know if I'd call this a stencil or a press. How about we'll just call it the cobblestone cobble with cat butt. Okay, so there you go. I hope you can see that. That's so small. Okay, bam, ta-da. Okay, the next step is to grab your foam. This is the, like I said, the XPS foam. I think I got this from Lowe's, which has the teal green color. I just had a piece of scrap. This is 2-inch thick. You don't have to use the 2-inch thick if you don't want to. This one right here is pre-cut. 2 feet by, I think, I'll have to measure it. Roughly 2 feet by 2 feet. So if you want a 2 feet by 2 foot square, you could do this whole piece. It's gonna hurt, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna hurt your hand, because chances are you are like me and don't have those muscles developed in your hand. So, okay, so we'll take our piece of foam, put it on a flat surface, and grab your tool, and it's very simple. You just press down. I'm gonna start on the side here. I was gonna start in the middle, but oh, I know. Okay, I'll start here. and you just keep pressing. And if you want to leave a little space between that, you can. That's kind of gives a little grouty effect. Can you see how that is punching into the XPS foam and creating cobblestones? It also pushes down a little bit, which is fine. Now let's say you want to make that one a little crooked, right? Because it's old. So then what I do is I come back around for the next row, and I put between, like, as if you're laying your tile down, and put it in between there. But once again, we got a couple crooked spots because maybe some horses came by or more heavy or something. Okay, and then back to our similar rhythm. I really like doing a deconstructed. If you don't want to do deconstructed, then do it however you want. It's your table, it's your aesthetic. You can do however you want. I also think this kind of has a reptile effect to me. Like maybe if you wanted to do something else with it, on a wall, scales kind of thing, crocodile or something. Okay, see how that's making the cobblestone effect. Okay, and then just keep going out. I'm not going to do this whole board. I'm going to do a little sample piece to show you how it's done. Once again, I'm going to make some craggly things. Maybe that's a pothole, okay? And then back to my rhythm. It's very kind of relaxing. I am using two hands because it does start to hurt these muscles. And I'm old and I didn't take an aspirin. My rheumatism and arthritis is acting up, Maribel. Okay, so keep pushing in and making that beautiful texture. Okay, see that right there? It's a lovely texture for your cobblestone streets. Now here's another trick. You could also make this be the base of a wall. It could be a piece of terrain wall. It could also be the bottom part of a building, like a medieval building when they would have those stones. So you can turn this, it doesn't have to be on the ground. You could turn this on its side if you wanted to and have that same effect. I'm a big fan of using big blocks. I don't know why. I think for my, I think for my Frostgrave terrain, I was inspired by some 2,000-year-old ruins that had big blocks. So I went with those. All right, so this is, let's get a little closer up so you can see the texture going on here with that. And all it is the bottom of the pencil. Now you can see the pencil is starting to get misshapen a little bit. See that little curve right there? That wasn't there before. This is natural occurrence because we are dealing with some soft metals. So I'm going to try and do this through the camera. There we go. Okay, see it pop right back in. And then I'm going to do another little reshaping because I want to. Oh, and then this piece right here fell down. So I'm just going to bend that back up. Keep in mind, these are the cheap pencils. These are dollar store pencils. So if you use a different brand, maybe you'll get a stronger metal. Okay, so let's go back to our punching. This is actually to me, it's very relaxing. It's that same monotonous, doing the same task over and over kind of thing. If you're a witch or whatever, get that spell going. All right, so there we go. There's your cobblestone sample. A floor. I kind of feel like I should do this whole piece now that I started. But there we go. Ta-da. Okay, I'm going to make another pothole because I just like the randomness and the chaos of it. Okay, there we go. Back to if you have little sewer grates, these are really cool. You could add a little sewer grate to that. It'd be really cool. Okay, so there you go. Bam. with a pencil. So the next step is to create a sealant on this foam. And for that, I like to use a concoction I make myself. It is my combination of PVA, paint, and water. Put it in an old paint jug and just shake it up. What I like about this is that it has the PVA glue, which is basically Elmer's. I use a different brand. I like Arlene's because it's thicker. I also like the paint in there because it's acrylic. I use an acrylic paint, a cheap acrylic paint. And it is nice because acrylic paint hardens and turns into a plastic, which further coats your foam or your sponge or whatever you choose to use. I like the black in there because it's like an auto prime. You don't already have to prime it. If you want to prime with a different color, you don't have to use black if you don't want to. You could use a red paint, a white paint, whatever. I'm sure everybody has done this before. My recipe for the sealant is usually equal parts. I may cut back on the water if I don't want it to be super runny. The glue, the Arlene's tacky glue, and the acrylic paint tend to be really thick. And as you can see, this has a lot of texture to it. It's getting kind of harder to see with the paint, but see those bumps? That's why I like to add the water to it, because it seeps in a little easier, and therefore you don't have to use as much, and it's not going to be as thick, and you're not going to lose that texture. I also found it really useful for the sponge foo technique because the holes are really hard to paint sometimes. I'm going to switch to the left hand now so you guys can get a better shot of what's going on. I'm dabbing the paint in there because sometimes it's hard to reach those crevices. And if you get too much paint, for instance in these corners right here, there's paint developing, just take your brush and smooth the paint away. If you can leave it if you want. Once again, it's your table. I want to show a little more of the detail in there. It's not really coming up now because of the camera, I suppose, but there's little pools in this, like in this area right in here, collecting down in here. It's pooling up. So I'm just going to pull that out. You could also take a little bit of a paper napkin or something and dab out the excess. I kind of want this. I don't know. I mean, I don't really need it because I want to add snow to it, but I feel like there's just a little too much paint on there. All right. So you can see a little of the texture. It looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, let that dry, and then once that dries, we'll come back and we'll start painting the cobblestones red. You can, if you wanted to say, let's say we wanted to use this technique at the base of a building, and you could paint them earth colors. So that would be a different color palette. Well, I chose cobblestones because that's what I made my last batch for, and so yeah, there you go. We'll be back in a bit once this dries. So I took some footage of me painting this, and I kept knocking the tripod, and it really wasn't that exciting. So let's just, there we go. I kind of made this area a little lighter and this area a little darker, and then since I'm going to be doing the snow effect, I painted this whole section over here white with some acrylic paint. Let me get a different color brush. So this whole area got painted white with acrylic paint, and then I splattered a little bit on the brick. I'm going for a melted snow effect, and to use that, we're going to use the Woodland Acenics soft flake snow, and then a PVA glue. I love using the Arlene's original tacky glue. I don't know if I can get this in focus. Arlene's. I love using that. But you can use Elmer's. You can use whatever you want. So this part is really easy. You just take the glue and paint it on the white paint. And then take your fake snow and put that on top. So I just got a little bit of the Arlene's on my brush and dab that all over here. This paint is a little wet still, but that'll be okay. So just to keep this real simple for you and not to bore everyone to tears, you put the wet glue on and then take the Woodland Acenics soft flake snow and sprinkle that on and let it dry. And then once this dries, shake off the excess and you will be left with snow-kissed melted cobblestone streets, which are great for any kind of diorama, railroad, model railroads, wargame, ruins, RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons. So put that snow on. This really isn't showing up too well on the camera, but that's what it is. Some folks like to use baking soda, and you can do that. There are also modeling compounds that you can purchase that will put a little bit in there. Some modeling compound you can purchase that will build up below this, so you're not really wasting a lot of time and energy and money on the snow things. Whoops, sorry, I just smacked that thing again. But then I'm going to take this brush and just brush away a little bit, because some snow would theoretically go in those cracks. I kind of like how that looks. So let's get a little more snow in those cracks just to add a little depth and such to our finished look. Okay, whoops, that's the wrong brush. Okay, and then you can also brush this away. This is where that snow, remember we painted that fake, that effect of the snow. So let's see if we can get that in there. I don't know if you can, the camera's really going to pick that up. Let's try. Really get that nice effect in there. Pretty little piece. And here we have the finished product. I decided to get a close-up so you can see the detail of the snow and where it's cracked and meets the cobblestone. And we have a couple miniatures for scale, so you can see the scale of the foam, the XPS foam. There you go. There is cobblestone, model cobblestone effect. Using XPS insulation foam and a pencil.